Hey friends, what's up? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed Zayin, Daf 37 of Masechta Ksubis. Friends, well, today's Daf isn't particularly difficult in my opinion. At least it wasn't difficult when I was preparing it and reviewing it and all that stuff. So, also we're gonna stop on Daf Lamed Zayin with Beis, with a little bit to do for tomorrow, because otherwise it's either you stop there or you go about halfway through tomorrow's Amud. So we're going to stop a little bit high up, so it should be okay. We talk about the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who says that a shvuya b'kedushasa kaima, that we can assume that a shvuya remains, right? We can assume that she did not sleep with her captors, and okay. And then we get back to the concept of komle b'derab minei and misa mamun, malchus mamun, but again, nothing so crazy. Alright, friends, we're going to start in Daf Lamed Vav Mud Beis, all the way at the bottom, last line of the page, towards the end of the line. Rami le Rav Papi bar Shmuel of Yosef. Now we're already up to Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph. So, Rav Papi bar Shmuel asks a kasha to Rav Yosef. What do you think his kasha is? V'sov Rabbi Yehuda b'kedushasa kaimo. Does Rabbi Yehuda really hold that a shvuya remains b'kedushasa? That we assume that a shvuya, that a girl who was in captivity did not sleep with her captors, was not sort of coerced into sleeping with her captors. That by a convert, right, a girl who converts to Judaism, viras adam. Okay, and then the day that she converts to Judaism, she sees dam nida. All right, Rabbi Yehuda Omer daya shaita. Okay, this is a concept from a Masechta Nida. Right? Daya Shaita means, do you assume that when she notices the dam, then we assume that, well, the second she noticed it, that's when it basically left her body, and at that point she's tamei. But not from before, not any point before that. We don't have to assume that, at some point before that already, it had sort of separated from the uterus. Now, so that's what daya shaita means. The other possibility is that we go back 24 hours, or at least until the last time she checked, to see if she was a nida. And from basically, so if, she checked 2 hours earlier, and she wasn't in nida 2 hours earlier, so then we don't need to go further back than 2 hours if that's the last time she checked, and it's just from 2 hours until when she actually saw Adam. So you go back, mipkida l'fkida, right, to the last time that she checked. Now, if she hasn't checked recently, so then we go back 24 hours. And the point is that if she would have touched any truma or any tyrus during that period, right, up to 24 hours prior, or back to the last time she did a bedika within the last 24 hours, so any tyrus that she would have touched within that time frame, we have to be machmir and assume our tummy. So now, with that, let's read that again. So if you have a Giyorish Niskaira, so if you have a girl who converted to Judaism, V'ras Adam, the day that she converted, she saw Adam Nida. So Rabbi Yehuda Omer daya shaita. Rabbi Yehuda says that we can assume that from the set, right, that when she saw the dam, at that point she becomes, right, at that point if she touches any tyrus or anything, so then they will become tummy, but not a second before then. Rabbi Yossi Omer arei k'chol anoshim u'metama meis leisim kida l'fkida, and Rabbi Yossi says, no, we treat her like any other Jewish woman, and she would be metama 24 hours back, or at least to the last time that she checked to see if she was a nida. And here's the question, right? Rabbi Yehuda says that she needs to wait 3 months before she can get married, right? In order to be sure that when she's pregnant, we know who she's pregnant from, right? Of course, we know from Masechta Yevamis that if she were to get married, let's say right away, and then she gets pregnant, we don't know, was she pregnant from before she converted or from after she converted. But if you wait 3 months and ascertain, and you're sure that she's not pregnant by after 3 months from the time that she converted, so then she can get married, and any child that she has then, we know will be from after she converted. Rabbi Yossi Matir Le'aris v'lenasa miyad, whereas Rabbi Yossi says no, she can get married immediately, she doesn't have to wait for anything. So here we see that by a gioris, by a convert, Rabbi Yehuda is saying that you have to wait 3 months. We have to be concerned that maybe she got pregnant from somebody before she converted to Judaism. So, on the one hand, by Shvuya, Rabbi Yehuda is saying in the Mishnah that B'Kedushasa Kaima, that we're not concerned that she had sexual relations with one of her captors. And by a Giores, by a convert, we are concerned that she had relations before she converted, and therefore she has to wait 3 months. So now, the point being that we're assuming right now that if Rabbi Yehuda is Choshesh by Giores, so then he would also assume that by Shvuya also, she may have had relations with her captors. So now, Omarle, to which Rav Yosef responds to Rav Papa Bar Shmuel, Gioris Hashvuya Karamas, those are apples and oranges. And our Mishnah Rabbi Yehuda is talking about a Shvuya, a girl who was taken captive, a Jewish girl who was taken captive, and in the Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda is saying that a convert needs to wait 3 months. Giores lo mintura nafsha, shvuya mintura nafsha. That so a girl who's converting to Judaism may not necessarily be making sure not to have relations with somebody prior to converting, whereas a shvuya, a girl who's in captivity, who is taken captive for ransom, she's going to guard herself. She has no interest in sleeping with her captors. So now, fact the Gemara, okay, but v'ram shvuya shvuya. Okay, fine. So if we can't ask the kasha on Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah, who says that by shvuya b'kedushas kaima, we tried to ask the kasha from Giores. We said apples and oranges. But how about this? I'll ask you a kasha from shvuya. The Tanya is from the price. Giores ve'ashvuya ve'ashifcha. That a Giores, a girl who converts to Judaism, ve'ashvuya, or a girl who was taken captive, ve'ashifcha, or a slave woman, sheniftu, who were redeemed, v'shenizgaru, or converted to Judaism, v'shenishtacharu, or were freed, yiseris abanos gimel shanim v'yomechad, when they were older than 3 and a day. Tzrichos lahamtin gimel chodashim div Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says they have to wait 3 months because maybe they had relations before they either converted or were freed or redeemed. Rabbi Yossi Matidar is miyad. Whereas Rabbi Yossi says that in all of these cases they can get engaged and married immediately. Ishtik, and Rabbi Yosef was quiet. What's the kasha? The kasha is that in our Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda says that by a shvuya b'kedushasa kaima, we assume that she did not have relations with her captors. And yet we have this brisa that says that a shvuya, as well as a gioris or a shivcha, but a shvuya has to wait 3 months. Because we have to be concerned that she had relations with her captors, in which case, she has to wait 3 months to be sure that any child that she has is not from the captor. So on the one hand, our Mishnah is saying B'Kedushasa Kaima. On the other hand, we have a brisa that says that she has to wait 3 months to be sure that she's not pregnant from her captor. I thought though B'Kedushasa Kaima. Ishtik, so Rav Yosef doesn't have an answer. Amalei midishmi aloch beha. So Rav Yosef says to Rav Papa Bar Shmuel, "No, did you hear anything?" I love that. I think it's beautiful. Rav Yosef, he wants to know the answer. There's no ego over here. He says, "Well, I don't know the answer. Do you know the answer?" He wants to know the truth. He wants to know what the halach is, how to resolve this conflict. Amalei. So Rav Papa Bar Shmuel says, so says Rav Papa Bar Shmuel that Rav Shesha says that in the Brisa where it says that she has to wait 3 months, it's because they saw that she had relations with her captor, with one of her captors, and therefore, in that case where she definitely had relations with her captor, so it's a different story, and therefore she has to wait 3 months. But if that's the case, then why does Rabbi Yossi say that she's allowed to get engaged or married immediately? Don't we have to, how are we gonna, if she's pregnant, how are we gonna know who she's pregnant from? Hamarabba Ksav Rabbi Yossi, so says Rabba that Rabbi Yossi holds Isha Mazanim Shameshes B'moch Shelo Tesaber. And Rabbi Yossi holds that if a woman is going to have relations in a context where she's not going to want to have a baby, so then she'll be Mishameshes B'moch. She'll use some kind of either protection, or Rashi says that basically afterwards she'll use some kind of a cloth to try and drain out the sperm. She'll take steps to prevent herself from getting pregnant. And therefore Rabbi Yossi says that even if there were witnesses, right, that even if they saw that she had relations with one of her captors, still Rabbi Yossi says that she can get engaged or married immediately, because she would have had relations and then been mishameshes b'moch. She would have, taken steps to prevent herself from getting pregnant. B'shlam Gioris. So now the Gemara says, okay, well, I can understand by somebody who's, right, a woman who's converting to Judaism came to die to ligure minter nafsha. Okay, so I can understand why Rabbi Yossi would say that a convert can get engaged and married immediately, because she knows already, leading up to her conversion, she knows that she's going to be converted, and therefore she'd rather wait to get pregnant until after she converts to Judaism, and that way the child will also be Jewish like her. So therefore she'll be mishameshes b'moch. Shvu yanami. I also understand by a captive, that also a captive, right, a girl who's taken captive, and her captors really just want a ransom, and they'll basically let her go as long as someone's willing to put up a ransom. So she doesn't know who's going to put up that ransom. Maybe, right, she hopes, she holds out that it'll be a Jew, and then she'll go free with a Jew. And then so therefore she's not going to want to get pregnant from her captors or anybody else until, she kind of figures out how this whole mess is going to be resolved. And again, therefore she'll be mishameshes b'moch to prevent herself from getting pregnant. Shivchanami, Desham Pimar. Also, by a slave woman, she hears from her master that she'll be going free soon. So again, she'll be mishameshes b'moch, so that she can wait until after till after she's free before getting pregnant. So I understand in all these cases where there's kind of, they can know in advance to be mishameshes b'moch. Ella yotze b'shein v'ayin ma'ikal l'meimer. But what about a slave girl who goes free because her master knocked out her eye or her tooth? Right? In that case, she goes free immediately. If her master knocks out her eye or her tooth. So now in that case, she didn't know the day before that her master was going to be knocking out her eye or her tooth the next day. So therefore, if she had bia the day before, she wouldn't have been mishameshes b'moch. So then, in that case, how would Rabbi Yossi say that she can immediately get engaged or married after she is freed and therefore becomes a Jew, right? Because a Eved Kanani or Shifcha Kananis, when they're freed, they become Jews. So then how could Rabbi Yossi say that she can get married immediately? How do we, right? Maybe if she's pregnant, it might be from before she was freed. And if you're going to say, well, Rabbi Yossi would not say his opinion in that case, right? Meaning when Rabbi Yossi says that she can get engaged and married immediately, it's in situations where she was able to prepare. But not sort of in these sudden situations such as Yotzes B'Shein V'ayin. But one second, Ari Anusa, but one second, by Anusa, right? A girl who gets raped. So, of course, there was no, she didn't know in advance that this was going to happen. Betanya, and yet we learn in a Brisa, Anusa and Mufuta, Tzrichos Lamtin, Gimel Chodashim Tiv Rabbi Yehuda, that Rabbi Yehuda says that both by Anusa and Mufuta, she has to wait 3 months. Rabbi Yossi, Matir, the Aris Vilinosa Miyad, whereas Rabbi Yossi says that she can get engaged or married immediately. But don't we have to be concerned that maybe she may have gotten pregnant, prior to getting married? Well, Rabbi Yossi holds that a woman who doesn't want to get pregnant, she can kind of do some kind of a dance or something that will prevent her from getting pregnant. And therefore, so it's not like mishameshes b'moch, where she has to have some kind of a cloth or something to absorb the sperm and come prepared. But even just, you don't even need that. She can move around in a certain way that will prevent the sperm from fertilizing the egg, and this can be done even without preparations, and therefore that's how Rabbi Yossi could say that even by anusa and even by a shifcha who goes free b'shein b'ayin, even if she had relations the day before, if she wasn't interested in getting pregnant, she would have just kind of been misapeches, kind of moved around in such a way that to prevent herself from getting pregnant. Rabbi Yehuda says that she still has to wait 3 months, because we have to be concerned that maybe she didn't move around quite well enough, and she might still be pregnant. Okay. Now, right? The Mishnah had said that if somebody who's chayiv misa doesn't have to pay mama, right? So if somebody sleeps with his daughter, so he doesn't have to pay the 50 shekels fine because he's chayiv misa's bezdin. I think it's reifa. So, and we said because it says v'lo also onish onish, right? We've been seeing this pasuk quite often recently, that it's Reuven and Shimon are fighting and they end up killing Sarah. So if Sarah dies, then Reuven's in big trouble. So, but if she doesn't die, so then he pays money. But if she does die, so then he's pater from mammon, right? He's chayiv misa, he's chayiv hereg, plop the head off with the sword, as we're going to learn soon. So he doesn't have to pay any money in that case. So now it says the Gemara, the Gemara says, 1 second. This isn't learned out from v'lo yeh oson onesh. Rather, it's learning amehosam kidei risha also. As we've learned already, where did we learn this? On Daf Lamed Beis. We didn't learn it before then? Okay. Right, it says kidei risha also. That it says that we give him makis kidei risha also, singular, based on the nudniki thing that he did. But nudniki, singular, not nudnikis, which would be plural. Mishum risha achas atam machayv aviatam machayv mishum shtei rishayos. That you punish him for doing one nudniki thing, but not for two nudniki things. I.e., you only get one. Right? If you get makis, then you don't pay mammon. And we should say the same thing here as well. That if you chayiv misa, then you will be pater from mammon. Chadav misa v'chadav b'malkis. What? Chadav misa mammon v'chadav b'malkis u'mammon u'tzricha. To which the Gemara says no. V'lo yeh ason onosh onesh is by misa u'malkis u'mammon, and kidei rishaso is by malkis u'mammon u'tzricha. And we needed both of these cases. We needed to teach that if you chayiv misa, you're pater from mammon. That if you chayiv malkis, you're pater from mammon. The ashminon misa u'mammon. Because if we would only have the case to say that when you chayiv capital punishments and you're pater from paying, mishum deika ibun neshama, because that's very extreme. The fellow is dying, and because he's getting killed, so we kind of say, okay, don't worry about the money, we're just going to kill you. But when we whip the fellow, but we keep him alive, we say, you know what? Just be happy we kept you alive. Now pay up as well. So therefore, we need the pasuk of mishum kidei risha also to say no. Even by malkis u'mammon, it's only malkis. There's no mammon. Malkis u'mammon, and if we would only have the case of malkis u'mammon, mishum de lo chamer isure, I might think, look, what he did was clearly not as bad as something that you chayiv capital punishment for. So therefore we say, look, if what he did wasn't really the worst thing that he could have possibly done, so we'll say, okay, you get malchus, that's enough, you don't also need to pay money. Aval misa o mammon de chomer yisure. But I might think that when he's chayiv misa and also chayiv mammon, that's like really bad. We say, you know what? We know that we're going to kill you, but what you did was pretty bad, and therefore in addition to killing you, you also have to pay money. So that's why we need both of these cases to teach no. In both of these cases, if you chayiv misa, you don't pay mammon, or if you chayiv malchus, you don't pay mammon. In both of those cases, you're not going to get punishments. Okay. Reb Meir. And what about according to Reb Meir? Reb Meir though says that you get malchus and mammon. He says, right, Reb Meir says that you don't get misa and mammon, but you get malchus mammon, right? Because we said that there are different isurim that you're getting, that you chayiv the mammon and the malchus. So he says that, right, so if you chayiv misa, you're potter from mammon, but if you chayiv malchus, you're also chayiv mammon oichet. It's entirety lomali. So what do I learn now from both psukim? From Veloya Asun Anu Sheonish and Kidei Rishaso. What do we learn out from both of them? So Chada b'Misa Umamon, V'Chada b'Misa Umalkis. Okay, so they're both talking about Misa, but one is saying that you'd be potter by Misa Umamon, and the other one is saying, no, meaning if you chayiv Misa and Mammon, you'd only be chayiv Misa, not Mammon. The other one is saying that if you chayiv Misa and Malkis, you'd only be chayiv Misa, you wouldn't be chayiv Mammon as well. No, well, I screwed up. If you chayiv Misa and Mammon, so we'd only give you Misa and not Mammon. If you chayiv Misa and Malchus, we'd only give you Misa, not Malchus. Okay, fine. We need both of these cases, the Ashmin and Misa and Mammon, because if we would have the case of death and money, right, and we say you only chayiv death, not money, well, I'd say because we don't do, one thing to the body and one thing to the money, to the wallet, right? We choose one. And therefore, if you chayiv misa and mammon, you can be chayiv misa, forget about the mammon. Aval b'misa or malchus, but death and lashes, de'idi v'idi begufe, that both are physical to his body. Ema misa arichtoi v'navid be. I may think that we can conceptualize it as being like one long death. That sounds like something that I wouldn't really want. And just one sort of long, stretched out death, starting with lashes and ending with, I don't know, who knows? I mean, stoning, burning, strangling, head plopping offing. Okay, so I might think that we do this really long death. And therefore we have to say, no, we don't do this really long death. If you chayiv misa, you're potter from malchus as well. If you hashminu misa or malchus, and if we would only have the case of misa and malchus, the tarte begufe lo avdinun. I might say, okay, that's because we don't do two things to the body. Aval misa umamon dechada begufe v'chada b'mamon eima naivit. I might think that, well, if he's chayiv misa and chayiv mamon, which are two separate things, one is physical, one is financial, so maybe you do one of each. Tzricha, therefore we need that as well. So we need both psukim, one to say that if you chayiv misa, you potter from malchus, and the other to say that if you chayiv misa, you potter from mammon too. So now the Gemara asks, well, the pasuk says that you don't take any money for a killer. So now we want to assume that, what does this mean? It means that if somebody's chayiv misa, right, he murdered, and he's chayiv misa, those sikhu kofir don't take any money, i.e., if you chayiv misa, you potter from mammon. But we already know that. So the Amar Achmana lo sishko mammon minei v'tifteri miktala. No, it doesn't mean that somebody who's chayiv misa is potter from mammon. It means that if somebody's chayiv misa, do not allow him, right? The guy is not allowed to pay his way out of it, right? Don't accept money in lieu of death. No, you can't do that. Lo sikhu kofir lanu salir miklatu lamali. So now we ask a similar question, that if somebody kills somebody by accident and he has to go to an ir miklat, so we assume, right, what's an ir miklat? An ir miklat is the city of refuge. If you kill somebody by accident, you can run to a city of refuge and stay there until the Kohen Gadol dies. So also if you go to the ir miklat, then you're potter from paying money. Lamali, why do I need this? No, what it means is that if somebody kills somebody by accident, he can't pay his way out of it. You can't say, here, take this money and I'll just pay you instead of going to the miklat. No, there's no way out of it. Why do I need both of these? Well, one's by shogeg, by accident, one's on purpose, right? The miklat is for people who kill by accident, and the first pasuk of V'losikhu kofel nefesh otzech is somebody who kills on purpose. Utzricha, and we need both psukim, right? To say that we can't, accept money instead of either capital punishment or ir miklat. The Ashminan Mezid, because if we would only say that in a situation of capital punishment we cannot accept money instead, mishum dechomir yisure, that's because capital punishment is pretty serious stuff. Therefore we can't just accept money instead. Aval shogeg de lo chomir yisure emalo. But I might think that if somebody kills by accident, where we don't kill him, but he does have to go to the ir miklat, we could say, look, he could pay his way out of it. So therefore we have to say, no, he cannot. Gashmin and shogeg, and if we would only have the ir miklat, mishum dileka ibud nishame, I might think that that's because, the reason why we cannot accept money instead of the ir miklat is because, look, at the end of the day, we're not going to kill the guy anyways, right? So therefore, why should we accept money instead? Let's go back to for a second. But if somebody kills somebody else on purpose, which means we're going to kill him, it's a capital offense. So we might think, look, the guy is chayiv misa. We have to kill him because he killed somebody else. But it's a pretty serious thing to kill a soul, a Yiddish soul. And we might want to avoid that. And even though yes, the guy is a murderer, and yes, he's chayiv misa, but in the interest of sparing a Yiddish neshama, you might think that you can accept a payment instead. So Kamashmila, no, you cannot. Right? So therefore the idea was that by an ir miklat, I might think, look, at the end of the day, we're not killing the guy. So why, there really is no argument to be made to accept money instead of going to an ir miklat. But in the case of where it's a capital case where we're going to kill the guy, I might think, look, let's at least spare his soul and let him pay his way out of it. No, if he's chayiv misa, you can't take money instead. Fine. The pasuk says that the land will only be atoned there will only be atonement for the blood that was spilled in the land by the blood of the spiller of the blood, i.e., if Reuven kills Shimon, we gotta kill Reuven. Lomali, why do I need this pasuk? We need it for the following brayso. How do you know if you had an egla arufa? Who could tell me what an egla arufa is? An egla arufa is when you find a corpse halfway between two cities and you're not sure from which city the murderer came. So they basically take a calf and they kill it in this valley, and that's the egla arufa, and that's sort of some kind of atonement for the fact that this terrible thing happened. But then afterwards they find the perpetrator. Also. So how do you know that we say, okay, well, we already did the egla arufa, therefore we don't have to kill this fellow? Shinamar, as the pasuk says, that the pasuk says, look, the only way for the land to get atonement is by killing the killer. And therefore, even if the egla arufa was already egla arufad, that we'll learn about a little bit more in a second, and then they find the killer, so we still kill the killer. What do we learn from the pasuk of, and now you will rid or to burn the peaceful, innocent blood from your midst? We need it for the following. How do we know that people that are killed by plopping off of the head, how do we know that it's from the neck? Well, meaning, how do we know that people who are killed by the sword, we chop off their head? Maybe we stab them in the heart or something. So Talmud Omer, therefore the pasuk says, and you shall, clear away or remove or, do something about, fix, burn, the innocent blood from your midst. We compare all spillers of blood to the egla arufa. And just like this calf that when there's a corpse that's found between two cities and you don't know where the murderer came from, so we kill this calf in a barren valley. So when you kill the calf, you chop off its neck, or you cut off its head from the neck. So just like the egla arufa is from the neck, so also all murderers, when we kill them, we cut off their head. But I might think that, well, just like when it comes to an egla arufa, we take an axe and we chop off the head from the back of the neck. So I might think that oichet, when we chop off people's heads, we do it with an axe from the back of the neck. Look, the pasuk says that you must love your fellow like you love yourself, and that also extends to even when we have to kill somebody. If we have to kill somebody, kill them in a way that you would want to be killed, not with an axe to the back of the neck, but I guess with a sword to the front of the neck. What do you want me to tell you? Friends, that was Daf Lamed Zayin of Masechet Ksubis. The beginning of the daf started out trying to understand Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, because Rabbi Yehuda had said in our Mishnah that a shvuya b'kedushaso kaimer. Yeah, we have a brisa that says that by a shvuya, Rabbi Yehuda says that you have to wait 3 months before she can get married. But I thought that she's b'kedushaso kaimer. So we say, well, it's when we have witnesses who say that she had relations with one of her captors, and in that case, you have to wait 3 months. Now, the thing is that Rabbi Yossi argued on Rabbi Yehuda and had said that she can get married immediately. How come she can get married immediately if we know that she had relations with one of her captors? The answer is because she can do different techniques to try and prevent herself from getting pregnant. We then learned out different sources for essentially like Kamle B'tu Abmine, right? That Misa and Mammon and Malchus and Mammon. So according to the Tanakama, who says that you don't get Misa and Mammon or Malchus and Mammon, so we have two psukim to teach that. And according to Meir, who says that there is Malchus and Mammon, so we need one pasuk by Misa and Mammon, the other pasuk by Misa and Malchus. Okay, fine. Alright, and then we learned out also that, you don't, if somebody's Chayiv Misa, then you cannot accept sort of payment instead, in lieu of capital punishment. Rather, we need to give the capital punishment. Chevra, that was Daf Lamed Zayin of Masechta Ksubis. Hope you enjoy. Peace out.